Hi everyone, I'm John, and welcome back to Puzzle Me This. This is part 20, so it is the 19th month update on the 42,000 piece Around the World Jigsaw Puzzle. I did take a week off this month to go to the beach, so we only got 3 weeks of work done on the puzzle. I had mentioned down there that I didn't have much to say at the beginning of this one. And a few people over the year and a half have commented or have asked me how I ended up with a big puzzle when usually I only puzzle 1 week a year at the beach. And I didn't want to tell the story because it would take a while, and Mom always says that y'all don't want to hear me talk, you want to see what we got done on the puzzle. And she's right. But I got home from the beach and looked at the YouTube channel, and Natalie in Idaho left a comment and asked me the same thing about ending up with a big puzzle. So what I thought I'd do is we'll do the video the same as we always do. And at the end of the video, then I'll tell you the story of this puzzle. That way, if you don't want to watch it, you can turn it off at the end. Or if you have trouble sleeping, you can put it on. That should help. So we'll do it the same way we always do, and then I'll tell you the story at the end for those that want to hear it. This month, we're at a total of 3,226 hours of total time spent on the puzzle. And last month, we had talked about thinking there was maybe 6,000 pieces left to go in the puzzle. And it would take maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months to finish. So this month we kept track of how many pieces we put in. And we put in 1,126. So there are 1,100 more pieces in the puzzle this month than there was last month. So, okay, we'll look at what's on the cardboards and then what's on the table. Okay, on the cardboards this month, we have the greens yet. And if you've been listening the last couple of months, you can probably tell I'm not real excited about having to sort through the green pieces. But I couldn't rope anybody into it. So Mom did some of the sorting, and I did a little bit, and it wasn't too bad. We're not done yet all the way. We have the light greens, or they look like ferns almost. Just a real, like a pine needle type leaf. A lot of them that are real light. But we've got them. We've got some darker ones and some out of focus ones separated. We did it by color. We didn't do it by shape yet because we kind of go by color a lot. So we have them separated that way now. We'll see how it works. If that just doesn't work, then we'll have to do it by shape. But the birds and animals and flowers that's all we have over here. And on this side, we've gotten all the cardboards almost down to just one cardboard on the table. the browns, we have just a little one here that's extra. And some of the other ones I put on smaller cardboards. The reds and the maroon ones I put on smaller cardboards. Gray, yellow, purple, the real dark colored ones, blue, pink. There's not many pink again. These are the buildings. I put them all together and sorted them by shape. And the diagonal ins and outs are on top here. But there's 4 cardboards yet of buildings. I go through them a lot and try to narrow them down. We still have 2 cardboards of white. The top one is kind of off-white, and the bottom is more of what I thought was sky originally. So there's 2 of them cardboards yet. And then we have poles and trees, and then just some other stuff. These are the ones on top here. They're Easter Island, those statues that are on Easter Island. I think that's where a lot of them go. We've been picking them out, and they'll go right down in here in this spot. So we can almost, not quite, but almost, we can see all the pieces now. Except, of course, for the pile of green ones over there. And over here is our up and down cardboards and sideways that are the grids. And Mom goes through and puts them in, and we find more as we're looking through pieces. And that over here is the cardboards we have empty. I did empty some of the big ones that were over on the table and put littler ones that the pieces would fit on in their place. So we're getting quite a few cardboards now that are empty there. So, okay, that's what's on the cardboards. Let me show you what's on the table. Like I said at the beginning, there are 1,100 more pieces in the puzzle than there was last month. I don't think we really did a lot of any one particular thing. So I'll go through and show you the puzzle, and you all might notice if something is filled in more than it was. I noticed watching other people's YouTube videos, some of them actually put their spare pieces on top of the puzzle that's already completed. And I don't know how you do that. Once in a while, we'll find a piece laying on top of the puzzle, and we have no idea how long it was there. It could have been there a long time because they're just so hard to see. I did get more of the browns of this done. I worked on that yesterday with the brown cardboards. I don't usually look through the brown cardboards too much. I usually look through the building cardboards and try and get them done. And the Sphinx. I did get a few more pieces in the Sphinx because that's a brown color. And I did go through some of the red color also, and did get some of them, or some more of them. I noticed last night I came up to clean the table off a little bit. I take a damp paper towel and let it almost dry because I don't want to get the puzzle wet. And then I'll go through and kind of lay it and pick the dust and cardboard dust and things off of the table without picking the pieces up. And I came up last evening and did that. And that window faces west, and the sun sets in the west. And that was really the first time that I noticed that down at the bottom of the puzzle, I could see the lines of the pieces. Up here at the top, you can notice, you look down through and you see rows of pieces. But I never really noticed that down here because I guess we had enough of empty spaces. But last night with the sun shining in there and a glare on it, I could finally notice the rows of pieces of the puzzle. Okay, I'm going to show you the last month's walkthrough. I'll just show you last month's, and there won't be any sound for it. And then I'll walk down through and show you this month's. Okay, that was last month's walkthrough. Now we'll do this month's walkthrough. The white spots are getting a little smaller every time. I think a lot of the ones left that are bigger will have a lot of green pieces in. So maybe next month or the month after, we can go down through with green pieces and see what we can get filled in there. That might make it look more filled in. So that was this month's walkthrough. So that's where we are. And I want to thank everyone so much for taking the time to watch. And until next time, go put your puzzle together. All right, now let me come over here. I gotta turn the camera around. Okay, I turned it around. So I'll start at the beginning. If you're having trouble falling asleep, this would be a good place to start watching. It should help. When my sister and I were real little kids, a lot of times Mom and Dad would have a puzzle they would do in the evenings. And them or their friends, whoever got a puzzle, it got passed around to everybody. And I'm sure my sister and I thought we were helping, but we probably weren't. Then when I was 14 or 15, for a couple years, I thought I would get Mom and Dad the hardest puzzles that I could find. And there wasn't an internet back then, so we were pretty much at the mercy of what they had at the mall. And Walden Books and B. Dalton booksellers. At Christmas time, they would have puzzles. And sometimes you could find a kiosk at the mall that had calendars and puzzles. And one year I got them, it was 1,500 or 2,000 pieces. And it was a close-up of a pile of marbles. And it was really hard. And in 1990, Mom and her sister and brothers and Grandma and Grandpa got the idea that the family should go down to the beach together for a week. And we ended up going to Ocean City, New Jersey. And we've been doing that now for 34 years. And I'm not sure about the first half of that, but I think at least for the last half of it, somebody has brought a puzzle or two. Usually just 500 pieces or maybe 1,000. And it's nice because if it's a rainy day or if someone doesn't feel like going to the beach or walk on the boardwalk in the evening, then there's something to do. And it was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I wondered how big of a puzzle could a person actually get? And when I got home, I Googled it, and some things came back, and one of them was a YouTube video. And I clicked on it. It was a girl. She was doing the 33,600 piece wildlife puzzle. And it was part 4 or 5 maybe. And I watched 2 or 3 minutes of it. And all she did was complain. Oh, this is so hard. There's so many pieces. It's so big. I just can't do it. I'm going to have a mental breakdown. And I thought, oh, this is great. So I stopped watching that and went to the first part because I just couldn't wait to see this pile of 33,600 puzzle pieces. I thought that's got to be from the table all the way up to the ceiling almost. So I started watching the first video, and that's when I learned that big puzzles come in separate bags. And that puzzle happens to come in 10 bags of 3,360 pieces each. And she was, all the crying and belly aching she was doing it one bag at a time. She was never doing more than a 3,360 piece puzzle. And I'm not saying that a 3,000 piece puzzle is small, because it's not. But it's not a 33,600 piece puzzle like she was trying to convince me or the world or herself, I guess, that she was doing. And it bothered me and turned me off that much that I stopped watching it and didn't even think about puzzles really, except for a week at the beach every year. And it was maybe 4 or 5 years after that I was on YouTube and a puzzle video showed up in the recommended list. And it looked interesting. I clicked on it. And this girl was totally different. She was excited about puzzles. You could feel her enthusiasm. And it just happened to be a Karen Puzzles video. And I watched a couple of hers. And you know how when you click on a few things, you get more of that same content recommended to you. And then MJPuzzles showed up, and she does a lot of big puzzles. And Judy from Addicted to Puzzles, Vicky from Vicky Makes and Builds, Donna Louise from For the Love of Puzzles, Russell from Puzzling in Two Worlds. They all started showing up, and I started watching them. I consider them YouTube puzzle royalty. They're the reason that this puzzle is here. And they did make it look a lot easier than what it is. You know, all of them can do a 1,000-piece puzzle in an afternoon and take an hour off for lunch. I don't get to see all their videos, but if they're doing a big puzzle, I definitely watch all them. And they do them in bags, a bag at a time. And I don't care how people do their puzzles, if they mix them up or do them a bag at a time. And I mentioned in the first video why I mixed this one. And if for nothing else, I wouldn't feel like I was getting my money's worth. I paid for a big puzzle, and then to do it in sections, just, I don't know, I got a year and almost 2 years out of buying a big puzzle by mixing it together. And Karen said about 8 months ago or so, she was getting ready to do a 12,000-piece puzzle. And I guess it came in 2 or 3 bags, but she was going to mix them together. And she considered that to be her biggest puzzle yet. And she had done the 24,000-piece life puzzle, but she did that in 6,000-piece bags. So she considered this to be her biggest puzzle. And I like how she thinks according to how many puzzle pieces are in front of her, because that's kind of how I think of it. There are a few other ones I've watched since then. Janette from Janette and Her Puzzles, Crazy Puzzle Chick, Logic Master Steve, Puzzle Wacko. I'm sure I'm leaving some out that I see from time to time. And if you have a channel, and I don't mention you on here, it's because I don't know you have a channel. I didn't know Logic Master Steve had a channel. And he's been commenting probably since the first video. And one day a video showed up in the recommended list that said Logic Master Steve. That's when I found out he had a channel. And a lot of people that watch these videos do look down through the comments. So if you have a channel, mention it down in the comments, and some people will see you that you have a channel and check you out. There was 4 bigger puzzles than this one when I bought this. And I didn't like the images on them as much as I liked this. My wife and I have ridden motorcycle in 49 states so far, all but Hawaii. And Tammy tends to like the natural things, like Grand Canyon, the Badlands, things like that. And I tend to like man-made structures, bridges, buildings, and dams. I like dams. There isn't any dams on this puzzle. It's a wonder that he didn't put at least the Three Gorges Dam on it. But we like that kind of stuff, and this puzzle has that. Landmarks and bridges and buildings and a lot of natural stuff. So that's why I like this puzzle and decided to buy it instead of a bigger one, just because a bigger one is bigger. And I know bigger and faster is always better, but this one just had the image that I really liked. And it's been, except for the Dowdle puzzle, the 60,000 piece, it has been about 5 years since another big puzzle has come out. So hopefully in the next year or so, we'll see some bigger puzzles again. And I don't know what we'll do after this. We'll take a break for a while and then see what we think. The table and all is here, so it'd be a shame to not do another puzzle. I know Mom would like to. She likes doing puzzles and she likes family time. So it would be a shame not to do another one. I can always make the table longer or wider if I have to for a bigger puzzle. And there are some neat ones. There's the life puzzle. A lot of people do that one and hang it on a wall. Judy has it hanging in her house. And the 32,000 piece window on New York City, I think it's called. And Russell is doing that one now from Puzzling in Two Worlds. And so I'm not sure if we'll do another puzzle or not. We'll see. But that's kind of the story of how I ended up with this puzzle. And how I went from puzzling 1 week a year to pretty much puzzling full time, it feels like sometimes. It seems like I'm always up here, and Mom and Dad are usually here, and whoever else wants to come. So, well, that's been long enough. So, I know I've said it before, but thanks for watching. Until next time, go put your puzzle together.